Here's a number that should bother you. The average American household lost over $1,000 in purchasing power last year. Not because they spent more, not because they earned less, but because the traps got smarter. The fine print got longer. The defaults got stickier. And most people had no idea it was happening. This isn't about being careless with money. Some of the people who fell hardest into these traps had budgets, had savings accounts, thought they were doing the right things. The problem is that the rules changed, and nobody sent a memo. So this is the memo. 12 money traps, all of them still active, all of them worse than they were 12 months ago. Some of them hiding in places you'd never think to look. Every year, financial advice tends to recycle itself. Save more, spend less. Don't buy the latte. It's the same loop dressed in slightly different language. But something genuinely shifted this past year, and it wasn't subtle. Interest rates stayed higher for longer than most people expected. Prices didn't fall the way the headlines promised they would. Lending products got more creative in ways that benefit lenders, not borrowers. And the digital economy quietly made it easier than ever to spend money without feeling like you're spending money. What you're about to hear isn't a list of obvious mistakes. It's a breakdown of traps, systems designed, whether intentionally or not, to separate you from your money quietly, legally, and repeatedly. Some of them are old. Some of them are new. All of them are worth understanding right now. Here's what makes a money trap different from just a bad decision. A bad decision is obvious in the moment, at least in hindsight. You knew the vacation was too expensive. You knew the shoes weren't necessary. A trap is different. A trap is a structure, a product, a habit, a default setting that works against your financial well-being even when you're trying to be responsible. The worst ones feel neutral or even smart. And this year, 3 things made these traps significantly more dangerous. First, borrowing costs stayed high. That means every trap involving debt, and several of these do, now costs more to escape than it did 2 years ago. Second, real wages for most people are still playing catch-up with inflation, so there's less room for error. The same trap that was a setback in 2021 is a crisis in 2025. Third, technology got better at exploiting human psychology. The platforms, the apps, the checkout flows, they've had years of data to optimize around your weaknesses. That's the environment. Now here are the traps. Trap 1. Buy now, pay later. The debt that doesn't feel like debt. Buy now, pay later exploded over the last few years. Klarna, Afterpay, Affirm, they're embedded in checkout pages everywhere now. Clothing, electronics, groceries, even medical bills. The pitch is simple. Split your purchase into 4 easy payments, often interest-free. Sounds reasonable, and for a single purchase, maybe it is. But here's what the data shows. People who use BNPL don't replace spending, they add to it. The average BNPL user has 3 to 4 active payment plans running simultaneously. Because each one feels small. $20 a week here, $30 a fortnight there. Until you add it all up and realize you've quietly committed $300 or $400 a month to purchases you've already consumed. This year it got worse, because BNPL providers started moving into higher ticket categories: rent, utilities, car repairs. The psychological trick still works. The stakes are just higher. Trap 2. The high-yield savings account trap. Chasing a rate that's already leaving. 2 years ago, high-yield savings accounts were genuinely exciting. 4, 5, even 5.5%. After years of earning basically nothing, that felt like a revelation. Here's the part most people missed. Those rates were never permanent. They moved with the Fed, and when rates started dropping, which began in late 2024 and has continued, the banks moved fast. The headline rate on your account quietly dropped, but the behavior it created didn't. People parked money in high-yield savings, thinking they'd found a long-term strategy. They stopped investing. Some pulled money out of brokerage accounts. And now they're sitting in an account earning 3%, watching the market recover, wondering why their financial situation feels stagnant. The trap isn't the account itself. The trap is mistaking a tactical tool for a long-term plan. Trap 3. Subscription creep. The monthly drain nobody audits. The average person underestimates their monthly subscriptions by about 40%. Not because they're irresponsible, because subscriptions are specifically designed to be forgettable. This year, subscription prices went up almost across the board. Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Adobe, Microsoft 365. Most of them raised prices between 10 and 30% with minimal fanfare. A single email, easy to miss. And because the payment is automatic, most people never stopped to notice. At the same time, the number of subscriptions grew. Fitness apps, news paywalls, AI tools, cloud storage, parking apps that charge a monthly membership fee. The math adds up fast. If you're paying for 12 services you barely use at an average of $15 per month, that's $2,160 a year. Gone, without a single conscious decision. Trap 4. Credit card rewards. The game most people are losing. Credit card rewards are marketed as free money, and for a small percentage of disciplined users, they genuinely are. But for most people, they're a tax paid to the bank disguised as a benefit. Here's how the trap works. You sign up for a rewards card because the points, the cashback, the miles, it sounds like you're being paid to spend, and you might be on paper. But the research consistently shows that people spend more when they pay with credit than with cash or debit, sometimes significantly more. Add to that, the interest rate on most rewards cards is between 22 and 28% right now. That is not a typo. If you carry a balance even occasionally, the interest you pay in a single month can wipe out months of accumulated rewards. This year, several major card issuers also quietly devalued their points programs. The airline miles that used to cover a flight now cover less. The cashback thresholds went up. The game changed mid-season. Most people didn't notice. Trap 5. Lifestyle inflation. The silent budget killer after every win. You get a raise, you get a promotion, the contract comes through, and almost automatically the spending adjusts. A nicer apartment, a newer car, dinners out more often, clothes that match the new role. None of these individual decisions are irrational. The problem is the pattern. Lifestyle inflation is what happens when income grows but savings don't. When every financial step forward is immediately absorbed by an upgraded standard of living. You earn more, but the gap between what you earn and what you keep stays the same, or gets smaller. This year, with wages finally moving upward for many workers, lifestyle inflation became an even bigger risk. The raises were real, but so was the temptation to spend them. The research suggests that for most people, happiness from an income increase plateaus relatively quickly. The car stops feeling special, the apartment becomes normal, but the costs stay, and the savings still haven't grown. Trap 6. The long car loan. Paying for a depreciating asset indefinitely. Car prices went up dramatically during the supply chain disruptions of 2021 and 2022. They haven't fully come back down. And to keep monthly payments affordable, lenders started extending loan terms. 5 years became common, then 6. Now, 7- and 8-year auto loans are not unusual. Here's the problem with that. A car loses roughly 15 to 20% of its value in the first year alone. By year 3, it's often worth 50% of what you paid. But with a 7-year loan, you're still 2 years from paying it off. That gap between what you owe and what the car is worth is called negative equity. And it's a trap because it follows you. When the car breaks down, gets totaled, or you simply need something different, you don't start fresh. You roll that negative equity into the next loan, and the cycle continues. Trap 7. Variable rate debt. The time bomb that's already ticking. If you have a variable rate product, a home equity line of credit, an adjustable rate mortgage, a personal line of credit, you already know this year wasn't kind. What's surprising is how many people don't know what type of rate they have. They signed paperwork, they make the payments, and they assume the amount is roughly stable, until it isn't. Variable rate products are tied to benchmark interest rates. When those rates rise, the payment rises with them. For some borrowers this year, monthly payments on HELOCs increased by $300 to $500 compared to 2 years prior, with no change in the balance owed. The trap isn't taking on variable rate debt in the right conditions. The trap is not understanding that it's variable and not having a plan for when conditions change. Trap 8. Financial influencer advice. The content that's optimized for engagement, not accuracy. There are now tens of thousands of people on social media describing themselves as financial educators. Some of them are genuinely helpful, but the incentive structure of short-form content, where reach is rewarded, not accuracy, has produced an enormous amount of advice that is oversimplified, misleading, or outright wrong. This year, some of the most viral financial content included claims that the housing market was about to crash spectacularly. It didn't. Promises that specific investment strategies deliver guaranteed returns. No investment strategy guarantees anything. And a resurgence of multi-level marketing products dressed in financial independence language. The trap is that confidence reads as competence on camera. Someone who is certain, charismatic, and posting daily feels authoritative. But certainty in finance is often the first warning sign that something is being oversold. The rule worth applying: be skeptical of any financial advice that comes with urgency, secrecy, or a product to sell. 9, 10, 11, and 12 are coming, but stop here for a moment, because these next two, these are the ones that do the most damage. Not because they're the most dramatic, because they're the most invisible. Trap 9. The emergency fund illusion. Having one that's already spent. Most people know they're supposed to have an emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of expenses sitting somewhere accessible. This is standard financial advice, and it's correct. Here's the trap. Inflation quietly eroded the real value of those funds. Someone who built a $10,000 emergency fund in 2021 and hasn't touched it now has a fund that covers noticeably less, because the actual cost of 3 to 6 months of living went up. The number looks the same, the protection is smaller. Worse, some people technically have an emergency fund, but it's living in a checking account attached to a debit card they use daily. One unexpected expense, one moment of weakness, and the fund bleeds without any formal decision to touch it. An emergency fund only works if it's sized correctly, kept separate, and never treated as a buffer for non-emergencies. Most people are failing at least one of those conditions. Trap 10. Insurance underestimation. The bet against yourself you don't know you're making. Insurance is the financial product almost nobody wants to think about, and that avoidance is expensive. This year, insurance premiums went up sharply across the board: home, auto, health, renters. In some states, home insurance increased by 20, 30, even 40%. And faced with those prices, many people responded rationally in the short term and dangerously in the long term. They reduced coverage to keep the premium manageable. Higher deductibles, lower coverage limits, dropped riders. It feels like a reasonable trade-off until something actually happens. The average house fire causes around $80,000 in damage. A car accident with injuries can trigger liability claims that exceed policy limits by a significant margin. And medical debt, even for people with insurance, remains one of the leading causes of financial hardship in the United States. Being underinsured isn't a small gap in your financial plan. It's a single event away from being a catastrophe. Trap 11. Rent versus buy FOMO. Making a 30-year decision based on a bad month. The housing market spent the last 2 years in a deeply confusing place. Prices stayed high, rates stayed high, inventory stayed low, and the conversation online swung wildly between renting is throwing money away and buying now is financial suicide. The trap isn't the housing market itself. The trap is making a major, multi-decade financial decision based on fear of missing out or fear of being stuck, rather than on your actual financial position. People bought homes this year they couldn't comfortably afford because they convinced themselves prices would only go higher. People refused to buy homes they could afford because they were waiting for a crash that may or may not materialize. Both groups let emotion drive a decision that deserved a spreadsheet. The correct question isn't, is it a good time to buy? It's whether buying makes sense for your income, your timeline, your savings, and your life, independent of what the market did last quarter. Trap 12. The Inertia Tax. Paying a premium for doing nothing. This last one is less dramatic than the others, and that's exactly what makes it so effective. The inertia tax is what you pay when you stay in a financial product, a plan, or a habit simply because changing it requires effort. It's the bank account you opened 10 years ago that now pays 0.01% interest, while high-yield alternatives exist. It's the insurance policy you haven't reviewed since you signed it. It's the investment allocation that made sense at 28 and hasn't been touched at 41. Financial systems are designed to benefit from your passivity. Auto-renewals, default settings, pre-checked boxes, they all assume that you won't audit what you've signed up for. And most of the time, they're right. This year, the inertia tax got more expensive because rates moved. The gap between people who optimized and people who stayed put grew wider. Staying in a 0.5% savings account while alternatives offered 4% wasn't just leaving money on the table. On a $20,000 balance, that's roughly $700 a year. The inertia tax doesn't announce itself. It just quietly withdraws, month after month. 12 traps. Some of them involve spending too much. Some involve borrowing badly. Some involve trusting the wrong voices. But most of them share a common thread. They work because they're quiet, because they operate in the background, because they're designed to feel like the default, like the thing you just do, the thing everyone does, the thing that couldn't possibly be a problem. The single most useful financial habit you can develop right now isn't a savings percentage or an investment allocation. It's the habit of questioning defaults, asking what this product actually costs you, reading what you signed, checking whether the account, the plan, the subscription still serves you, or whether it just persists because you haven't gotten around to changing it. Awareness doesn't automatically fix any of these traps, but you can't fix what you can't see. Now you can see them. Drop a comment below. Which of these 12 surprised you most? Or if you've been caught in one of these, what was it and how did it play out? And if this was useful, subscribe. There's more coming. Different traps, different systems, same goal. Giving you the clearer picture of money that most people never get.